what it is. There's some 5-star dick.
Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm going to do a video that I've been promising for so long. That is the 1-year update on my breast augmentation. So it's actually been almost a year and a half now. So many people have asked for this video and I promised that I was going to do one. So here it goes. So I just wanted to show you guys this card that I got when I got my breast implants, because all the videos that I watched when I was going to get mine done, I never saw anybody talk about this card. And not that it's a big deal, but it's like kind of neat. So, and this has my actual stats, and I lost this for a long time. So a lot of my previous stats are like wrong. I couldn't remember, and I totally forgot that I had this card because when they gave it to me, I was all drugged out and I don't remember. So I just wanted to show you guys this card. So this shows that I have the Mentor breast implants. It has my name, my date of birth, my date of surgery, the ID number, my ID number. I'm not really sure what that is, to be honest with you. And then it has my surgeon. And then on the back, it has like the actual stats. So here they are. I'll put them in the description also. So the left is the Mentor MemoryGel breast implant, and it's smooth, round, moderate plus profile. And then it's 325 cc's. The right breast is MemoryGel breast implant, but it's smooth, round, high profile. And then it's 400 cc's. This was because I had 2 different shaped breasts, and one was obviously smaller than the other, and this was what my surgeon did to compensate for that. So I want to point out that they're not perfectly even now. In my opinion, I don't really think it's that noticeable. Plus, natural breasts are always uneven as well. So it doesn't actually bother me that they're not 100% perfectly symmetrical. They weren't before, and it doesn't really bother me that they're still not, but that's the tea. They're not even. So yeah, that's all this card is. It's got the serial numbers, the reference number. I'm not really sure like why I personally need these, but it has them. They're attributed to me. If I get murdered, they can look them up and find out my identity. So that's what's up with them. I think the last update I did was either 3 or 6 months, and to be honest, nothing's really changed. Obviously, I don't have recorded video of like what they looked like at that exact time, but I don't feel like they've changed. I feel like they're just as squishy as they were. They bounce, they jiggle, they do anything that boobs do. I've heard a lot of people say that they can't work out since they've got breast implants. I can run, I can sprint, do push-ups, pull-ups, lift weights. I can still do everything that I was doing in the gym before. They don't hurt, they don't bother me. They're just a part of me now. I don't even realize that they're not real. They're just like my boobs. So a lot of people were asking, because I originally said that I was gonna do like a review on the surgeon's office where I got them done, and a lot of people actually asked for it. I really didn't think that anyone was going to care because it's specific to my surgeon's office, but a couple people actually have asked when I was going to like talk about that. So I'm going to do that real quick right now. And also, it wasn't that interesting, but then a couple weeks ago I went in for a follow-up appointment for like a 1-year follow-up, and shit was so crazy, so now I have to talk about it. So I went to my first consultation. The surgeon came in, and I had seen a lot of reviews on realself.com and Yelp, I believe, that he was so personable, so nice, so great. So that's kind of where my expectation was when I met him, and he wasn't like that. So he seemed like indifferent, I guess, like he couldn't care less if I was there or not, and I had a lot of questions. I'm from a really small town. I know I've mentioned that so many times in so many videos, but I just don't know people who have done things like this because it just wasn't common where I grew up, and nobody that I knew talked about it. So I was asking questions, and he was kind of like rolling his eyes, and I got the impression that he was like annoyed with me, which bothered me because like I'm about to give you so much money, and the least you could do is act like you care. That was like kind of irritating, but I was like, whatever. He probably has so many consultations that don't even end up booking appointments, so I guess I understand. I really think that you should have better people skills, but like whatever. So then I went in for another consultation, I believe, And this is where like the problem started. So the day before my consultation was at like 4:30 on like, let's say a Wednesday. I don't remember the day of the week. Because I got to work at 3:30 and it takes me like 30 minutes to get there, and I didn't want to be late, so I had it at like 4:30. Tuesday at like 4:30 they called me, hey, the surgeon's sick, he's not going to be able to make the appointment tomorrow. So they were like, can you come in at noon instead when he'll still be here because he's planning on leaving early? And I was like, no, I have a job. That's actually how I plan to pay for the implants, so I can't just like come in early. So they were like, well, you can come in, but he won't be here to talk to you then. So I was like, I guess I really don't need him anyway. The nurses are knowledgeable. He's kind of like the muscle, if you will. Like, he's the one who does the surgery, but I assume everyone in the office is just as knowledgeable about things as he is. I hoped, I guess. So I was like, yeah, whatever, fine. So I went in, they were so nice, they were knowledgeable, they were helpful, it was fine. So then comes my pre-op appointment, which is supposed to be 2 weeks before your actual breast augmentation, so they can go over like care, and they can give you your medications, prescriptions, go over stuff while you're not drugged up, and so you can like more prepare for the day of surgery. So again, my appointment was like on a Tuesday or something. Monday at 4:30 they call me, he's gonna go on vacation, he's gonna leave the office early tomorrow, can you come in at noon? Like, the first time I gave him a pass because they said he was sick, so I was like, okay, he's sick. But this time, like, did you not check the appointment books before you scheduled a vacation? Like, do they deal mostly with like housewives? Like, I have a job that I'm already taking 2 weeks off of to recover from surgery. I can't just like I made the appointment at that time for a reason. Like, that's why you schedule appointments, so a time that works for me and it works for you, so that we can both be there. And I thought that was so rude and unprofessional to call me 2 times before 2 different appointments the day before. Like, normally if I was canceling, I would have to give them 24 hours notice or I'd get charged. And they were calling me like less than 24 hours before, or exactly 24 hours, saying that he couldn't be there for an appointment that we agreed on a month prior. So I just thought that was really rude and unprofessional and really freaking annoying, to be honest. So I said, like, nope, I can't do that. I work, I can't. So they were like, well, you can come in, but the nurse is gonna have to go over it because he's not gonna be here. So I was like, whatever, fine. They're obviously knowledgeable. I guess I really don't need to see him anyway. So then comes the day of surgery. He obviously showed up for that one. Showed up, went to surgery, everything was fine. You can check out that video, I'll put it here. Went home, and then the next appointment after your breast augmentation is usually about 2 days after. They will do a follow-up. So that appointment was in the middle of the day because I was off anyway to recover. So he made that one. So then I had a 2-week follow-up, and at this point I was already back to work. And my 2-week follow-up I had to schedule after work because I only took like a week off work, I guess. But the 2-week follow-up, I was already back to work, and so the appointment was after 4 o'clock. So the day before my appointment, they called me, said that he had another vacation planned. He couldn't be there. Could I come in early? And at this point, like, it was almost a joke. Like, I was just like, are you actually kidding? Like, you've actually done this. Almost every single appointment that I've ever had, he has something come up and then he can't make it. So I was just like, you know what? No, it's fucking fine that he can't show up. I'll be there though. So I go in for my 2-week, everything looks good. They show you how to do the massages. So I scheduled my next follow-up, which was be the 6th week, and that's when they were gonna take my before and afters and just make sure everything was like Gucci. So just so happened that my 6th week was the day I got back from Coachella and the day I found out that the guy I was like seeing was married. So I was a mess and I didn't go to that appointment. And I just kind of figured like there was nothing wrong with the healing. I was happy with the healing. If I had a problem, I would call them to reschedule. There was no problem. I don't care to have before and after pictures done. so I just didn't go. So I never called back or anything. So I had to sign a waiver when I got my boobs done that said I was okay with being on their Instagram page. And they do this kind of cool thing, it was cool to me, that they put an Instagram story during your surgery. So like, I saw myself knocked out getting my boobs cut open, and it was just kind of crazy. So they follow me and I follow them. I think they do that with every patient. So it's obviously summertime right now, and I've been swimming. I have some Instagram pics in my bikini. And so I posted one pic in a bikini, and they messaged me, the surgeon, it's like his page from what I can tell. He messaged me and said that he saw my picture, and then he looked me up and saw that I never came in for my 6-week appointment. And this message through Instagram happened in June. So my 6-week appointment was April 21st, 2018. So he's noticing June 20 something, June 13th, I think it was. So he notices June 13th, 2019, so a year and 3 months later or whatever, that I didn't come in. So he's like, I'm gonna have someone call you and like get you in for a year follow-up appointment so that we can check everything out and whatever. So I was like, okay, great. And I thought it was kind of random, like you notice from my Instagram picture and then you think to look me up. And then even though there's nothing wrong, you want to get me in for another appointment anyway. But I was like, whatever, like I'll go. So they called me, I made the appointment. I go to the appointment. The day of the appointment, okay, I'm sitting there. So they call me back and I start walking back with the nurse or whatever her actual job title is, I don't know. As we're walking back, she goes, I realized that June was almost over and we needed to get you in here for an appointment. And I was like, what does June being over have to do with me getting in here for an appointment? Like my surgery was in March of last year. So like it hasn't just been a year or anything. But I was like, whatever. She obviously just doesn't know. So they give me the robe, I change. The surgeon comes in, so he actually made this appointment, so that was really generous of him. So he comes in and I disrobe and he's like looking at him and he goes, wow, they've healed up so well. And okay. And then he goes, they're a little bit not symmetrical. And I said, yeah, they weren't before. And he goes, oh. And then he goes, how much did we put in them? And at this point I was like kind of like confused because like, don't you have a chart that says that? And like I told you guys at the beginning of the video, I have 2 different types of breast implants and 2 different amounts. I can't remember what amount goes to which boob. I don't know. Like you look at that, like that's your job. Like I'm just here, I'm not here to give you the information. So I told him, I said, I'm not sure. And he goes, probably about $550. And I was like, no, it was more like $350 to $400. And he was like, oh. And like, he literally had no idea. Like, it's not like he checked and then forgot when he walked in. Like, he literally just didn't know. And then he goes, so I got my surgery through the nipple. I think I've mentioned that in other videos because I have a tattoo under my boob. And I didn't like the tattoo. I told him it was totally fine to like cut through it. It was an impulse decision when I was 18. As we're standing there and he's like inspecting, looking at my boobs, he goes, is that a new tattoo? And I was like, no, that's actually the reason that we went through the nipple. And he goes, oh, that makes sense. It was like somebody else did the work and he was just like looking at it. Like he was just like, oh, I see. And I was just like, okay. So then I don't know if he meant to be rude or if his bedside manner is just that poor, but he looks at, he's like feeling my boobs. He goes, obviously you haven't been doing it, and at this point it really doesn't matter, but you really should have been massaging them. And I was like, okay, I did. First of all, I did massage them for the first 6 months, every day, all the different ways that I was shown. And I feel like it's really rude to assume that I didn't, to be like, obviously you didn't. Like, how is that obvious? Tell me how it's obvious to you that I didn't do it. And even if it was obvious, like, say something like, did you do the massages? They're really helpful. You really should have done them. Hope you did them. Like, I don't know. Something other than, like, what he actually said. So I was, like, a little taken back, and I was like, okay, rude. So we finish up, they take the before and afters. So they're like backing out the door and he goes, okay, normally we don't do a 1-year follow-up, but we will call you when it's been 1 year to schedule a 1-year follow-up. So I was like, what? Because I thought that's what I was doing here. And then the nurse lady, she kind of just like looks at me and goes like, so like she was like saying like, I know that this is your 1 year. It's okay that he doesn't, like, don't worry about it. Like, we got it. So I was just kind of like, okay. And then he goes, but everything's looking good for 6 weeks. And then I was like, he really, like, I don't know, don't doctors, I mean, I know he's like not a doctor, but like, before you walk in and see a patient that you've had, like, don't you go over their chart and like check it out? Like, oh, okay, yeah. But like, he had no freaking idea. Anything. Who I was, what my breast implants were like, what size I was, like, he didn't know anything. And I just felt like that, like, it was really off-putting. Like, I was just like, I feel weird being here because he doesn't know who I am. So they leave, they shut the door, tell me to get dressed. So they shut the door. I take, like, I was back in the robe at this point, so I take off the robe, and instead of like knocking and saying like, hey, one more thing, he just fucking opens up the door, and I'm like, and like, my first reaction was like to cover myself, but then I was like, well, I guess he's already seen it. So I'm just like, yeah, and he goes, I'm wondering if it's okay to post pictures of you on our Instagram page. And they've already asked me this, I've already signed a waiver, but I was like, you know, maybe that waiver's void, it was over a year ago. So I said, yeah, that's fine. And then he's like, do you want me to blur, like, black out your username? And I was like, no, I don't care. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, well, see you in a year. So I was like, I don't even know. So I shut the door, they left, I left. And that's really the end of the story. It's just kind of wanted to go over how unprofessional I feel like he specifically was. The office was great. All the girls were great. They were so helpful. I loved all of them. But as far as he goes, he kept planning vacations like last minute. Somebody was forgetting to notify me. In terms of like how he did, I think he did fine. Like, he tried to compensate for the issues I had, didn't make them perfect, but life's not perfect and I'm fine with it. I'm happy with how everything went. I'm happy with the price. I'm good. It's good. I just, if I get more work done, I probably will never go back there specifically because I just don't like that guy. So that's all I had for this video. I'm so glad that I finally got this filmed and I finally got this out for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I would really, really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in a future video. Bye.
And I just spit.